Hello everybody, welcome back. So as of last night we've experienced our first significant pullback, or you could call a dump. I mean it was relatively significant for Bitcoin, which recently has, well, we could go all the way from the top to the bottom here, which is a 16% move, but really I got out a few days prior to this. I got out just before the XRP pump. So what I did with mine is got out around 18,300 or so a little while ago, and then I put that into some alts, and then I sold those, and then I mean that's how I've managed it. So I've not actually owned much Bitcoin, if any, for quite a while. The only Bitcoin I've got running at the moment is on my trading bot here, which is only a fraction, a tiny portion, about $1,000. Or was maybe $1,000, but it doesn't matter if it is or if it isn't, because basically I just want to quickly show you that even in this downtrend that's taken place, there's been plenty of buys and sells take place. So in fact, the bot profit has still made money in this process. I know a lot of people on my Telegram chat are getting interested in the bots. So yes, I did sell the vast majority of my entire crypto portfolio over the last few days, but I did keep on that one bot, which is the Harmony One bot, because it's a low sat coin, and I still think that the lowers are in for those sats, and so in that respect I thought I'd keep it running, and it's proved to work pretty well even in that downtrend. So like I say, if you join my Telegram chat, we can talk more about bots. I will be making more videos on these bots, but there's links below if you want to set yourself an account up. It is free, a free trial that is, but you don't need to pay before or after. It just gives you the opportunity to play with it. Anyway, what we want to know now is what's going to happen with Bitcoin. So the best thing I can suggest in the very short term is that this bounce may have already perhaps maybe played out, but the best thing to do is to look at this on the 15-minute chart. Okay, the 15-minute chart is always a really good way to spot if there's going to be a reversal or not. So just before, I suppose, my bedtime last night, this was all playing out and it was looking very dumpy. And I remember saying to people, look, the way that this is going to work is if we are going to dump, the general pattern is you get stuck underneath a 15-minute chart underneath the Bollinger Band. And for me, I have this big fat white pink centre of my Bollinger Band. It might be because I live with I've got two daughters and a missus, and a pink is my go-to colour these days. But basically that's the centre of the Bollinger Band for me. If you were to take off all these moving averages, it does look a lot easier and simpler to follow, especially if you're looking at it on your phone, for instance. It's very simple and easy to track and trace that. So basically the way that this is going is that it was getting stuck beneath here. So every time we go up to this the centre of this Bollinger Band is an opportunity to perhaps open a short. If we break above it for a prolonged period of time, then that is a failed position, so maybe think about getting out. But it proved to work okay, and there was some decent money in those shorts, and I know some people on my Telegrams made the most of that, and that's the way it's going. So in order to work out if this bounce, which is definitely a bounce, it's a significant bounce, definitely, if it's going to have any kind of continuation, the first thing I'd look at would be the 15-minute chart. And so what we see here on Bitcoin, and by the way, all altcoins really are going to follow Bitcoin at the moment. They're not really going to take on a life of their own. They might have bigger moves in them. I mean, they certainly will do, but they're as far as setups are concerned, it would be difficult to get any kind of setup on an altcoin at the moment, because everything basically follows Bitcoin. You can see with Ethereum, what we see is basically a replica of the Bitcoin chart, and that's XRP, sorry, not Ethereum. And if we look at Ethereum, I imagine we'll be looking at pretty much the same deal. So in some respects, the altcoins are already looking healthier, and this is the sort of thing that we'd be looking for actually on Ethereum right now. So I'm not saying that there's a recovery taking place. The all-time highs for this year are almost certainly in. So Ethereum's all-time high for this year would probably be $622. We could recover some of these other areas. So just to I suppose make it simple, what I'm trying to suggest is what we look for to spot a continuation of an uptrend would be what Ethereum's kind of doing now. We've broken above the center of the Bollinger Band and allowed that center to start to curl up. What we also look at is the MACD, which is crossed and going, I suppose, bullish towards this 0 point here. Once we get to the 0 and cross over that, it should add continuation. But again, Ichimoku Cloud has caused a red area here, which will be difficult for us to break through. We have dumped an enormous amount, and this pump, I'm just measuring Ethereum at the moment as an example. We're already up like 9% from the bottom already. So that, for a lot of people, you know, are going to be in profit trying to catch that knife. They might be getting a bit too overexcited and think that this is going to go all the way up to the top. It's very, very unlikely. What we will be looking for now that we've broken outside the top of this Bollinger Band on the 15-minute chart, by the way, would be moving averages such as this one, the green 50 exponential, then this Ichimoku cloud, which again is going to be resistance and it's going to be facing down, and then finally we'd have this here, which is the 200 exponential. All of these are potential targets. So we've got 528, we've got 534, we've got 565. All of those are potential targets that could be hit today or tomorrow. But the main indicator for the day is going to be Bitcoin. So if alts are already feeling this kind of significant move with the pump, and XRP has now got its curvature, so these are the areas you can see actually on XRP how this exponential moving average, the 50 exponential moving average, has been a perfect sell signal. So, well, maybe not sell, but an area to get rejected from, which is what I was anticipating with this one here. So this is what these moving averages are going to be used for. So this would be the first area, and that clearly found a rejection, came down to be supported on the centre of the Bollinger Band, which is good still. It means that it wants another run. These are closing in on themselves, but we do have this big cloud that's going to bring us all the way back down. We've also got this, and you can't get over the fact that these moving averages here are going to be downwards facing until they're broken above. So you have to break above those, otherwise they're going to continue to go down. And if they continue to go down and they prove to be resistance, then it means that the price action will inevitably go back down again. So again, like I say, the main indicator is Bitcoin. So we're having these moves on alts. Alts are moving up, and I imagine the Bitcoin dominance will also be going down as a result of this ever so slightly. We'll have to look at it. That's a weekly chart. So we'll have a look at it on the 15 minutes. Yeah, so it is going down. So that's the inevitable consequence of what's happening at the moment with these altcoins. But if Bitcoin gets rejected from here and Bitcoin starts to tail off again, then obviously these alts will lose all their value that they've gained today. So there's 9% from Ethereum. This, I dread to think what this would be, probably a lot more than that. This is it's just basically a 20% move from the bottom to the top. So don't worry that you're not buying these dips or long in these dips. I mean, you know, the best thing we've got to look for is confirmation. So I don't like trying to catch knives, just as I don't like trying to catch tops. I think it's quite a dangerous thing to do. And the reason I called that top on yesterday was because we had over here, as well as other indicators, but this is a lot easier for people to understand, is we've got three main cryptocurrency exchanges using leverage. And they give you an overall percentage of who's long, what percentage it is, who's short, and what percentage that is, and then a total overall with the amount involved in those longs and those shorts. So yesterday, I remember when I made my video yesterday morning before I made the video, this was at 72, and by the time I'd made the video, it was like 68. And then it went all the way down to 62. I can't imagine what it would have been like at the bottom of the dump, but it probably would have been in the 50s. So that's showing you now that the pressure is mounting. So it's not just people taking profits who own Bitcoin on spot or Coinbase or wherever they're selling it. It's also people piling on shorts, and so you've got to try and imagine the weight of that. So if you look at these, if you try and imagine every candlestick has pressure to the down and pressure to the up, and it's a battle between the bulls and the bears. The short stack, it pushes it down. The long stack, it pushes it up. So it's not as simple as people just owning and buying Bitcoin. I see a lot of comments actually coming out on my YouTube recently where it's, you know, they've just been sold the dream. You know, they've gone down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin like most of us do when we first get involved in it, and which is fine. You know, I mean, everyone has to learn. But you know, they talk about the supply and blah blah blah. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just supply. I mean, I'd probably argue that a lot of the pressure is not just that people owning Bitcoin, it's the people trading it, not even owning a single piece of Bitcoin. They're trading it with other assets. They're trading it with the dollar, with the pound, with the euro, with Tether. They don't care about Bitcoin. They care about the price movement, and that's what's accumulating as a short. So, you know, there's a lot of other weight involved with this chart that doesn't actually involve a single fraction of a Bitcoin. So the bigger picture is a lot bigger, and I suppose a bit more complex than than just people buying and owning Bitcoin, even though that is the main component. So what I'm trying to suggest is, let's not try and get too clever. Most of us that I've spoken to this morning on my Telegram did get out at the top, essentially, and so what we're looking for now is to find where it's going to retrace to, and in order to do that, it's going to take a little bit of time. So the 15 minutes is showing us the very short-term time frames, and at the moment it looks like Bitcoin will probably continue with its little pump or its little rally and probably be rejected wherever this trend line will be at the time. Remember, this is a 15-minute chart, so as it goes down it will find itself a rejection, and when this gets rejected on Bitcoin, all these alts will likely follow that, with more significant moves to the down. So I'm expecting everything to come back down. I mean, this is a bearish. The 15-minute isn't so bearish at the moment, but it should inevitably become bearish unless we reclaim these moving averages. So the 50 moving average, 50 exponential moving average is a very important one to have, and as is the 200 exponential moving average. So let's have a look on the 4 hourly to see what we can spot on here. So the 4 hourly. This is not good here. This is basically all the lower term time frames crossing over the higher term time frames at a dramatic rate. So this isn't a death cross in technical terms, but it serves as an indicator to say that things are going to be bearish from now on. What you want to see in a bullish movement, in a bullish market, is let's see if I can find an example. I mean, it's kind of like this. 200. 50, 21, 10, 7. So as you can see, the larger term time frames at the bottom, and they spread like a rainbow. It's not a technical term, it's my term. I call it a rainbow spread because they're all different colours and they spread out like a rainbow in appropriate order. And once we start to get the opposite of that, the opposing of that, then it's it's like a bearish rainbow basically. So this is what's happening very, very fast on the 4 hourly time frame. Now we'll get really, really bearish clearly if the green crosses the white there, which is what's known as a death cross, but that's a long way off at the moment. That's even it's not even going to happen unless our price action drops below this 200 exponential. So we've got to be below the 16,000 for that to even be considered. So that we'll have to look, judge this day by day to see where the price action goes. But I do think that at the moment this 4 hourly chart does look bearish, and this is one of the things we looked at on the video the other day to spot the bearish divergence, which is here top, here top, here top, here top, with higher highs each time. So basically lower highs on the RSI while we're getting higher highs on the price action. And even though that was kind of ignored many times with Bitcoin recently in this FOMO cycle, now it's not being ignored, and now it essentially is playing out. So the important thing is to recognize where you are and what's going on in this market right now. When something goes parabolic, which is what it did do, it has to retrace. It doesn't mean that it has to retrace the entire amount. It means that it needs to cool off. It has to come down. So when we're going back to the daily chart here, what we see is we hit this area here of 16,300, which, to be honest, isn't really in a very specific area where it should have been supported from. I would have imagined it would be supported around about the center of the Bollinger Band, but the wick brought it down a lot higher than that, and it's been bought back up. So what I'll be looking at now is to see, obviously we've got our very, very steep cross here on the MACD. We've also got a big deep dive down into the depths of the RSI, which are probably going to pop back up a little bit by tomorrow. I don't think the dump is going to continue significantly today, or maybe even tomorrow, but it is very early to tell. That has been a very big move that we've had with Bitcoin. So the best thing to do is to recognize that yesterday, hopefully most of us got out at the top. We've made some great profits on this channel anyway. We've ridden this one up. We did our XRP from the bottom to more or less the top, which was an epic profit. Most of us should be in profit. If we were using the trading bots, we were in profit too, and we'll continue to be in profit regardless of the direction of the trend. And to just accept that at the moment, nothing is certain. I do believe that the market is going to correct, and a correction of this size after a parabolic high is likely to take weeks to maybe months, and it will be slow and painful, and there will be pumps and there will be dumps. But I don't believe this all-time high will be taken out this year. I think we'll have to wait till next year to see something along those lines. And if we were to dump all the way down to my absolute maximum target, it would be down to this level here, which is the trend line that was set all the way back in 2017. So and just to give you a bit of context, okay, so this was basically 2 years into a bull market. Don't be fooled by the size of the candlesticks. They do look small, but they are significant. In fact, they're a lot bigger than what we've just seen already. So this was a dump from the rejection point. That was a 43% move, okay? So we broke above this trend line for the very first time, and what happened is we came up and we came down to test it, came back up, came down to test it, rallied all the way up, and then basically we came all the way back down to test it. That's a 31% move, okay? So it doesn't look like a 31% move because of the size of the rest of the chart, but it was, okay? So a 30% move in a bull market is perfectly fine, because we can all see what took place shortly after that. And what I'm saying is, it looks like a big move, but really it's just it's relative to the size of the candle body on the entire chart. The move that I just showed you then, that in that bull market, is actually larger. Well, it's about the same actually. It's about the same, but it's more or less the same kind of deal as what I would expect as the biggest dump that we'll get at this point. I don't personally believe that at this stage in the Bitcoin cycle we will go further down than around 13,000, and we should respect this trend line significantly, even if it was just for a giant pump. If we broke down beneath that, then it would be really significant and actually very bearish, and we would be easily come back below $10,000. But I don't think any of that is on the cards, and even if it is, we can't speculate that far ahead. We've only had a 10% dump so far. That's nothing. We see that kind of thing all the time with altcoins. That's something we're used to. So it's probably taken a lot of people off guard because they thought it was going to the moon. They thought it was going crazy. Like I say, I got a lot of people on my YouTube channel calling me, a super bear, a mega bear. I'm not a bear. I'm trying to trade every move I can get. I've got bills, I've got kids, I've got a missus. They all need money. So I like to trade every move. I buy and I sell and I long and I short. I don't have any specific bias to either way. I just try to make as much money as I can, and make the most out of every opportunity that presents itself, and that's kind of, I suppose, what we've done on this channel and on the Telegram. That's what we try to do. We don't have any bias. I think we all appreciate and we all know that Bitcoin's going to go up, over the next 12, 13 months significantly, but we'd be naive to think that there aren't going to be big dumps, especially for those of us, which many of us are in that Telegram, OGs of cryptocurrency. We're not new to this. We know it. We've been all over it. Do you know what I mean? We've seen not just this Bitcoin chart. We're all over altcoins. We know what they do. We know the nature of the beast, and so in that respect, it's we're not naive. We know that Bitcoin can retrace all the way down to 13,000. We know that. We know that it could do that. That's absolutely not in any way unlikely. It could quite easily be its final destination after this retrace, but it will likely, in my opinion, take weeks to maybe a couple of months before that takes place. Now, in the general scheme of things, what I'm expecting with altcoins is to see amplification of Bitcoin's moves, especially with these top cap coins. Small cap coins, I'm undecided at the moment. We could quite easily still be within an alt season, but it's very difficult to tell right now after such a big move. There's a lot of uncertainty, so there's Bitcoin dominance on the daily. It's not really very useful, but as far as I can see, this is still technically forming the downwards trend line that should spark the alt season. So technically, we are retracing from the top here. Technically, we are still in an alt season, but I would also be very careful, because, like I say, every altcoin will amplify whatever Bitcoin does if Bitcoin decides to go down. At the moment, everything's coupled really closely after a move like this to Bitcoin. So everything's pegged to Bitcoin really closely. So as you can see with XRP, that's pumped 20%. Bitcoin from its bottom to its top has gone 5% and Ethereum was 10%. So you can see essentially they're like using leverage. They all are basically doing the same thing. Bitcoin goes down, they go down. They go up, Bitcoin goes up, they go up. They're all pegged right now, and it's going to take a little bit of time for Bitcoin to at least stabilize ever so slightly, go sideways in a certain range for that decoupling to then take place again, and us to spot setups on those altcoins. So for the moment, the best thing to do is to stand back and wait and watch, and accept that you've made profit, and wait for another strategy to emerge that we can trade successfully. For me, I don't really like, like I say, I'm grateful for what we've done, what we've made recently, and now it's time to, I suppose, sit back and have a think, enjoy what you've got, and wait for the next strategy to emerge. For me at the moment, the overall picture looks like it's going to go down and consolidate, but that isn't going to be without some significant pumps, and maybe even an alt season amongst all of that. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will leave it with you there, and thanks for subscribing. The channel's growing nicely, and joining the Telegram, that's also growing nicely. I really appreciate that. Take it easy, and I hope you have a nice day.